Tonight, global community celebrates role of women in humanity at the world marks International Women's Day. Efforts towards reducing spread of COVID-19 continues as more top government officials receive vaccination. INEC chairman meets resident electoral commissioners ahead of 2023 general elections. Good evening and thank you for joining us on NTA News at 7. I am Yemi Dalimo. Happy International Women's Day to all our mothers. More strategic leaders in the country have continued to present themselves for vaccination against COVID-19 pandemic. The latest to receive the jab was the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
The public vaccination of strategic leaders against COVID-19 is aimed at reassuring Nigerians of the safety and efficacy of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, which arrived in Nigeria last week. The Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, took his jab and was later presented his e-vaccination card by the Chief Medical Director of the State House Medical Center, Dr. Munir Hussain. The chairman, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, retired General Muhammad Buwa Marwa, and the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, were vaccinated by the chief nursing officer of the State House Clinic, Esther Ibrahim. Speaking shortly after, Professor Ibrahim Gambari said his vaccination was to follow the footsteps of President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who demonstrated leadership by receiving their jabs on Saturday.
All eligible Nigerians should take this vaccine. It is safe and it is painless, and the benefit is immense because it's not just for the individual, but the more Nigerians that are vaccinated, the more we develop the herd immunity, which will keep our country safe and our people healthy.
The vaccine is efficacious and it is safe. We need to safeguard our population. We need to safeguard the health of Nigerians. Mr. President has provided sufficient leadership for us. Today, the Chief of Staff is building on that foundation.
I would like to say to all Nigerians, take this vaccine. It's for the good. With this vaccine, by the grace of God, before long, the whole country will be COVID-19 free.
The federal government had on Saturday last week hinted that getting COVID-19 vaccination could become a requirement for all international passengers as the fight against the global pandemic gathers steam. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has felicitated with Nigerian women as they celebrate this year's International Women's Day. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President of the Senate on Media and Publicity, Ola Awoniyi, the Senate President described the theme of this year's celebration, Choose to Challenge, as apt in reminding society of the pivotal role women play in the family and nation building and the need for them to pay attention to the challenges confronting women. He noted that Nigerian women also deserve support and encouragement to participate without discrimination or inhibitions in governance and public affairs in general. The Senate President said the National Assembly will always promote and defend the rights and interests of the Nigerian women and fight anything that stands against their well-being and aspirations. Meanwhile, the world has seen a rollback in the hard-won in women's rights. Now it is time to build an equal future, which is the job for everyone, for the benefits of everyone. United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres said this at the World Mark 2021 International Women's Day. Adebola Within Sunday reports.
Women, many agree, are essential workers that are keeping people alive and holding economies, communities, and families together. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said they are among the leaders who have kept prevalence rates lower and countries on track for recovery from COVID-19. He said this year's International Women's Day is dedicated to highlight the transformative power of women's equal participation in nation building.
Pandemic recovery is our chance to leave behind generations of exclusion and inequalities. Mothers, especially single mothers, have faced acute anxiety and adversity. The consequences will far outlast the pandemic. Gender equality is essentially a question of power, and males are an essential part of the solution.
Meanwhile, a new analysis released on the International Women's Day by the International Children's Emergency Fund of the United Nations, UNICEF, highlighted the effects of COVID-19 pandemic on efforts to fight child marriage in the world, expressing the fear that 10 million additional child marriages may occur before the end of the decade.
On this International Women's Day, let's be inspired by their determination. Let's expand investments and training programs that help more girls take control over their lives and futures. Let's stand with them today to build the girl force of tomorrow.
The UN agency recommended immediate action to mitigate the toll on girls and their families by implementing effective laws and policies such as sexual and reproductive health services and comprehensive social protection measures for families. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
All across the world, the voices of women are resounding freedom and equality for all as they unanimously celebrate their gender and what unites them, despite race, tribe, and religion. Monso Dati reports that this year's International Women's Day is one of the most celebrated.
Dr. Juanita Wendu, a PhD holder in peace and conflict resolution, teacher, motivational speaker, and preacher, taking oath of office as the First Minister for Women Affairs Africa on the platform of the International Parliament for Safety, Peace, Justice, United Nations.
We are going to look into various problems that faces African women. Violence, wars, rape, and a lot of them. Above all, hunger.
The place of peace in socio-economic and political development of any society is said to be top, and that explains why President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, was quick to stress its position in nation building.
Our own national term, it says to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. The two go together. If we want peace, there must be justice.
The International Parliament for Safety, Peace and Justice has operated for over.
In the meantime, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, has joined the global community to celebrate the role of women in development. In a message marking the International Women's Day, the minister applauded their leadership, vision, courage, and tenacity in making the world a better place. He particularly celebrated women at the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, who have been leading the coordination of response activities, expansion of laboratory services, and effort to ensure continuity of the economy. The minister particularly celebrated Mrs. Nwadu Mba, a director at the NCDC National Reference Laboratory, who led the team that is responsible for rapid scale-up of laboratory services and providing testing services to Nigerians, representing thousands of Nigerian women working across states in laboratories, at health facilities, and at other settings to ensure health security.
Today, I join the global community to celebrate the remarkable roles that women play in all spheres of development. I applaud their leadership, vision, courage, and tenacity in making the world a better place. Through the efforts of women, we have made tremendous progress with our COVID-19 response in Nigeria. I celebrate in particular the women at the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, who have been leading the coordination of response activities, expansion of our laboratory services, and efforts to ensure continuity of our economy. Today, I specifically celebrate Mrs. Nwadu Mba, who is director of the NCDC National Reference Library. She has led a team that is responsible for the rapid scale-up of our lab services and providing testing services to Nigerians. Mrs. Mba represents the thousands of Nigerian women working across states in laboratories, at health facilities, and at other settings to protect our health security. As we reflect on the remarkable contribution of women to our health security and national development, I wish all girls and women worldwide a happy International Women's Day. Our world is a better place because of the roles played by women.
The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, rejoiced with the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, on the occasion of his 64th birthday on Monday, the 8th of March, 2021. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President of the Senate on Media and Publicity, Ola Awoniyi, Senator Lawan joined his family and friends across and outside Nigeria in celebrating the man he described as an erudite lawyer, intellectual giant, respected religious leader, and distinguished administrator on this auspicious occasion. He prays that God Almighty will continue to imbue him with wisdom and good health as he ably supports President Muhammadu Buhari in their patriotic mission to transform Nigeria and unite its people in happiness and prosperity. Concerned about growing agitation from business community on the need to reopen the international wing of the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport for business activities to thrive, some members of the House of Representatives from Kano and Jigawa State, led by Majority Leader Alhassan Ado Dogua, visited the airport for an on-the-spot assessment with a view to bringing the airport back to life. Awa Salisu reports.
The visit to the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport by members of the House of Representatives is to facilitate and find out the critical challenges impending the resumption of the international flights operation. Led by the Majority Leader of the House, Alhassan Ado Dogua, expressed concern over the hardship experienced by people from Northwest when traveling for business, medical or educational trips.
Based on our interaction last week with the minister, we've been quite comfortable. The minister has comforted us with a lot of words of encouragement, trying to really achieve this objective of our people. The next thing is that we now tell our people that for what we have seen, it is like there is no issue here. The only issue is about health challenge, which of course government is much more concerned about it.
Managing Director of Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Hamis Yadudu, said the closure of the international wing of the airport is in line with the measures observed the world over to curb the spread of COVID-19 pandemic.
And we're working very hard to ensure that we resolve these health concerns using appropriate measures to protect our stakeholders, all stakeholders. So once these health concerns are resolved, this airport shall be reopened to international operations as soon as possible, much sooner than you think.
He said airports in Nigeria will continue to abide by international guidelines to ensure security and safety at all times. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
The 2023 general elections must be different from all previous elections in terms of preparations. This assurance is from the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, as he meets resident electoral commissioners to finalize preparations for the resumption of continuous voter registration exercise and expanding polling units. Mie Ugidi reports.
Shuttling to settle a protracted electoral challenge, pushing for more polling units. Dialogue is more interesting than monologue, so stakeholders' meetings were held on the subject. Now, the INEC chair sits with his lieutenants, the state resident electoral commissioners, to finalize this discussion and also to resume the continuous voters registration exercise. And what are some of the benefits?
Those who wish to replace their lost or damaged PVCs, as well as those who are already registered, but who may wish to apply for transfer of their registration from one location to another, will be able to do so as provided by law.
Submit inventory of all election materials. No excuses in 2023, because the election is not just about the direction of the country, but also the identity, the INEC chair tells his men.
The 2023 general election must be different from all previous elections in terms of our preparations and readiness. I welcome all recs to this meeting as we go into the working session.
Journalists are not part of the working session, so we off our pens. Mayor Ogede, NT News.
The All Progressive Congress (APC) in Kano State has so far registered about 2.5 million members in the ongoing membership revalidation exercise. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje disclosed this at a workshop to assess conduct of the exercise. Abdullahi Mustafa has the details.
The APC membership revalidation exercise is taking place at 8,090 polling units across Kano State. Since its flag-off by Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, the 300 membership cards issued to each polling unit have been exhausted at least 7,000 locations. The estimate is contained in the various progress reports presented by registration committees at a stakeholders meeting convened by the governor. By this estimate, Governor Ganduje disclosed at least 2,500,000 registers have so far been collected by new and existing members in Kano State. While expressing satisfaction with the progress so far, he directed for equity and fairness to all members to achieve better results.
Those young men and women who have reached the age of registration into a political party, this is an opportunity for them to register.
Chairman of the APC Registration Committee in Kano, Dr. Kabir Matazu, acknowledged the support of the state party leadership and the state government to the conduct of the exercise. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
You are still watching NTA Channel 12 News at 7. The news continues shortly after the break. Stay with us.
NTA Abeokuta, solid as the rock.
Thanks for being there. Against the alleged rising cost of consumables in the country, a visit to some major markets in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, revealed a slight reduction in prices of food commodities. However, consumers have pleaded with the government to initiate more policies that can lure youth to farming. Alhaja Muibat Surulere and Aminat Olomide are food sellers who almost ran out of business due to the rising cost of foodstuffs and ingredients which buyers complain about. They said the situation has forced them to stop buying the commodities in baskets, but rather in smaller quantities.
Profit is not much as we are buying albosa, that is onion, for 34,000 instead of 12,000. Now that one, the difference is too much. Also the pepper.
Similarly, Stephen Adams, who sells rice at the Kuto market, says the pattern of purchase by his customers has changed.
5,800 by big one, small one is 650.
Why?
How do we buy? Buy 21 for now. We are buying 19,500, 19,000. That is when we are selling 600. And they economize.
A Congo of dry pepper sold for 1,000 naira last week is now 800 naira, while Congo of rice and beans have reduced when compared with prices placed on them last week. Stakeholders, however, appeal to government at all levels to make agriculture more attractive and engage the youth in farming to boost food production in the country. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NT News. Two crime-related stories now. Determined to smoke out criminal elements from Cross River State, troops of the Nigerian Army 13th Brigade under the Cross River State Internal Security Outfit, codenamed Operation Akpaku, in its latest operation have arrested one suspected armed robber who is also a cultist. Achibong Basi reports that the suspected robber is notorious for terrorizing residents of the 8 miles axis of Calabar municipality.
The 24-year-old suspect arrested for armed robbery and cultism confers to be a member of the Black Scorpion Confraternity, a notorious cult group operating around the 8 miles axis of Calabar municipality. The alleged cultist says one Richard is the leader of the group.
And we didn't force to anybody to give us money. Then one man in my community came out to pick some bankers out from the community. Then we went there and collected the money.
The other two suspects had been paraded, but their formal handing over for prosecution was delayed following the need to carry out further investigations by Operation Akpako before handing them over to the State Police Command.
The next thing is to commence a discreet investigation.
While handing over the suspect on behalf of the Commander 13 Brigade, Brigadier General Mohammed Abdullahi, the commander, Operation Akpako, Major Stanley Beme, says the Nigerian Army will not relent in ensuring peace is restored in Cross River State. In Calabar, Achebombasi, NTA News.
As part of efforts to ensure unhindered operations of the rail transport sector, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has put in measures to stamp out vandalism along rail tracks. These efforts resulted in a parade of some suspects for vandalizing rail track plates and other national assets in River State. Robinson Eratide has details.
28 suspects involved in vandalizing rail track plates, oil well heads, as well as illegal oil bunkering, were paraded by the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in River State Command. 2 cars, cylinder fin torch, and saw blades were recovered from the vandals at different locations of the state. The Corps says Ace Railway Command and anti-vandal units have put measures in place to prevent sabotage in the rail transportation sector.
It's based on this, our intensive patrol that all these suspects and exhibits were arrested. And I'm assuring you that we are going to double in our effort to ensure we protect all these critical national assets and infrastructure in the states.
To prevent further outbreak of fire incidents in River State, the NNCDC advises the public against the sale and patronage of adulterated kerosene.
As a measure put in place to prevent disasters in large and small scale within the state, the command is hereby warning and advising the general public against the sale and patronage of adulterated DPK, kerosene, in the state.
The command urges the public to furnish it with suspected vandal operations around them. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derataide, NTA.
And still talking crimes, 10 university students in Ebonyi State have been arrested for allegedly involving in the use and trafficking of illicit drugs. The state commander, Nigeria Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Issa Umar, tweeted this while parading the suspects before newsmen at the agency headquarters in Ebonyi State. Chinaza Jan reports.
The university students who are in 200 and 400 levels were arrested with 0.00500 kilograms of cannabis by the officers of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency during one of their hostel raids in Abeokuta, the Ebonyi State capital.
I started it recently. It hasn't been a while. I've learned that taking drugs is not good for my health. After the first encounter, it didn't stop. As I'm talking now, I think it has stopped.
For the state commander, NDLEA Ebonyi State Command, Issa Umar, the number of undergraduates arrested by the agency between 2019 to date is alarming, which is why university management should re-strategize in tackling the menace before it destroys the education system.
Out of several numerous hostels around the university community, we just raided only one, and 10 drug dealers were arrested from just one hostel. Preliminary investigation proved all of them to be dealing in cannabis sativa and other dangerous substances of abuse.
He further disclosed that this development is a wake-up call for parents and stakeholders in the education system to be on the lookout for attitudes that suggest drug trafficking and use by individuals around them for timely intervention.
It is our hope that this information about the arrest of these students will put both parents, even government, on red alert to the general responsibility of preventing our future leaders from graduating as drug dealers.
Out of the over 500 suspects arrested by the agency, with over 1.5 million kilograms of illicit drugs from 2019 to date, about 150 suspects have been cancelled and rehabilitated, while about 120 have been successfully prosecuted, with over 100 still pending in court. 80% of these suspects are between the ages of 10 and 50. In Abakaliki, Chinaza John, NTA News.
And leveraging on opportunities for women to resist harmful social norms and overcoming other barriers to leadership positions, women have taken the bull by the horns to register their worth when it comes to gender and leadership. As the world celebrates International Women's Day, Kemi Onusholu Sikiru in this report tells us more about the styles and leadership skills which women.
Over the years, societal norms, harmful traditions which relegated women to the background, including disregard for girl child education, are some of the challenges confronting women in taking leadership positions. However, women are now showcasing their leadership skills in entrepreneurship, administration, engineering, among others, breaking the tradition that barred them from venturing into leadership positions.
No matter what we be in life as a woman, the outcome of the upbringing of our children, like the mirror of who we are. So I really want to encourage mothers, women generally, to let us look into that, because when I see a lot of children on the streets, I get so disturbed because I know they did not just fall from heaven.
You know, women have and bring a different and unique perspective to conversations that are being had in these different arenas. And so it is key. So we definitely have a lot of work to do in terms of grooming and encouraging women to aspire to these levels.
However, the incidence of COVID-19 in Nigeria constitutes major challenge for women, especially widows and artisans who had to fend for themselves and family members by all means. Like Oliver Twist, women are calling on government and other stakeholders to roll out more soft loan facilities for women to assist their businesses.
Appreciate a lot of women out there, and most importantly, I want to tell them that we are a voice. We might not know yet, but I can tell you that whatever a woman tries to do, we do it well. We do it with all our hearts. We go all out to make sure it's a success.
I just want to encourage all our women that life is what you take life to be. So we must be more focused, more determined, and know that yes, God has created us. God has a special interest in women.
International Women's Day is celebrated every March 8th to draw global attention to socio-economic, cultural, and political achievements of women world over. In Abeokuta, Kemi Onusholu Sikiru, NTA News.
Ahead of the National Science and Technology Summit in Abuja, innovative people of Akwa Ibom State have showcased their works for appraisal while soliciting for government support. Kelvin Samuel reports.
The news of the arrival of the 3.94 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine rekindled great hope among Nigerians as they celebrate the huge investment made by the federal government.
I want to congratulate Nigeria, first and foremost, for successfully receiving at least the first batch of COVID-19 vaccine.
Though history reveals that controversies bordering on socio-cultural and political novel medical inventions such as these, health professionals advise Nigerians to ignore these theories, ensuring that the vaccines will help curb the waves of the dreaded virus.
There's no drug, there's no vaccine that has no possibility of adverse reaction. So please, these conspiracy theories should be played down. Let's avail ourselves of this opportunity. That gives us hope.
Yeah, lucky enough to have some of these vaccines right here with us in Nigeria. So I encourage everyone not to have any doubt whatsoever, but to step forward and take the vaccines.
Expectations are also high that the government will not rest on its oars of making available adequate doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, which is utilized in 2 doses to reach every Nigerian.
We look forward to really having enough.
In the government to ensure that vaccine delivery to those who need it. In fact, everyone needs it anyway, but at least they should judiciously use this particular by they've gotten.
As nations of the world continue to record significant results in the fight to contain the novel coronavirus since the introduction of the vaccines, Nigerians anticipate a COVID-free nation in the nearest future. In Uyo, Ifoma Ihuchi, NTA News.
And it's on that note that we end the news tonight. We thank you for watching. Good night.
Thank you.